would you like to reap all the incredible benefits of intermittent fasting, like losing weight, having more energy, and improving your brain power with as little effort as possible? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways to make intermittent fasting so much easier. Hi, I'm Dr. Mariza Snyder. I'm a women's hormone expert, and I help women in midlife navigate with ease and grace. And I've had a lot of experience, not only working with thousands of women implementing intermittent fasting, but also on my own journey. And yes, at times you can feel like you are not doing it right. And it can also feel very, very hard. So I want to share a little bit about the type of intermittent fasting that I believe is the most beneficial for women 40 and over, especially getting started. And then the 3 ways to make it easier so that you don't find yourself feeling sluggish, feeling exhausted, feeling hangry, and feeling moody. Now, the type of intermittent fasting that I recommend women when they're first getting started is a circadian-based fast, meaning a 12-hour fast. And I always want to be working with your circadian clock, your biological clock, because that's where we can really work with our awake and sleep cycles and also our eating cycles. It's all interconnected. And so what I've realized over the years, especially as we get older, we tend to be more insulin resistant. And we also lean towards more insulin resistance in the evening. So how I recommend women start their circadian-based fast or an early time-restricted fast is to move dinner slightly earlier in the evening. That way we are more insulin sensitive. So my usual benchmark is end your last meal of the day around 6 p.m. And I get that there's a little bit of adjustment there, but over time, you can really lock in that time and then it becomes your new normal. So in our household, 6 p.m. is when we have dinner. After that, no snacks. We don't eat until the next morning. And so as I mentioned earlier, a 12-hour base fast is a great place to start. It won't stress the body, it won't overwhelm your hormones, and you'll find you're gonna get these epic benefits without it being too hard. So again, you start at 6 p.m. and then you can break that fast at 6 a.m. If that feels too early to you, no worries. It can be 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. It just depends on how long you want to extend that fast based on what feels good to you. And then it's all about setting you up for success. And so I want to talk about that last meal of the day because that's where you're going to start your fast, right? After that last meal, after dinner, that's when you kick off that time-restricted eating or that circadian fast. And so when you want to focus on dinner, you want to focus on a protein-rich, low sugar, low ultra-processed foods meal. And it's so important here that you have that protein-rich meal. One, because we want to maintain our muscle mass and we want to make sure that our body has all of those essential amino acid building blocks, but also we want to prevent cravings and we want to set ourselves up for success when we are implementing that fasting window so that we're not experiencing some late night cravings or some late night snacks. And my recommended protein intake is going to be a gram of protein per pound of lean body mass. One of the things I have learned working with thousands of women is that as we get older, we seem to reduce the amount of protein intake that we need. And that has a detrimental effect on our metabolism, our blood sugar, and ultimately our strength, endurance, and our metabolic health. So we want to make sure that we're getting an adequate amount of protein. And I find that when we bookend our day, so we kick off our morning, we break our fast in the morning with that breakfast, that we have a good protein-rich breakfast, and that we end the day with a good protein-rich dinner, that we really are setting ourselves up for success and that we're setting ourselves up for knocking out that circadian fasting window. The next thing is, again, because I was talking about breakfast, you want to break your fast with a balanced meal. I'm talking about a sufficient enough protein, and I recommend anywhere between 30 grams and 40 grams of protein to kickstart your day. Healthy fats and fiber. So we want to make sure that we are stepping up our fiber intake. We really want to aim for 30 grams to 50 grams of fiber every single day. And one of the best ways to get that is in our breakfast so that we feel fuller longer. And you want to avoid sugary, heavy breakfasts that destabilize your blood sugar. What the really important thing to note is that first meal of the day, that breakfast, when you break your fast, that is going to set the tone for the rest of your day. So if it starts off with a sugary yogurt and granola or a fruit smoothie or a vanilla latte or a frappuccino or toast and jam, that's going to end up starting a blood sugar spike cascade. And what we've looked at when we've looked at the data of tens of thousands of people, if you start your day with a sugary breakfast, you are going to have blood sugar variability, basically blood sugar spikes throughout the entire rest of your day, even into the next day. And that makes doing a fast extremely difficult, right? That makes intermittent fasting almost impossible to pull off because you're basically chasing this blood sugar roller coaster. And then number 3, probably the most important piece, especially if you are going to move your eating window earlier for dinner, is that you skip the late night snacking. So we know that late night snacking has a lot of negative benefits. One, it deregulates your blood sugar. It forces your body to go into and continue digestion into that sleep routine, and it can mess with your sleep. And so we want to make sure that we give your body a substantial break, not only before bedtime, but also to ensure that you are having that fasting window throughout the evening so that you are optimizing your metabolic health, you're optimizing your insulin levels, and that you're able to get all the way to the morning with that full 12-hour fast. And again, late night eating, late night snacking is always going to sabotage your efforts. So my recommendation is to have that last meal at least 3 hours before bedtime. Now, if you implement even 2 of these strategies, right, making sure that you're having a protein, fiber, healthy fat breakfast and dinner, then you are really going to be setting yourself up for feeling fuller longer throughout the day, and then really having epic benefits from that circadian-based fast in the evening. And if you can avoid those late night snacks, even better, because not only you're going to get more deep, full, restful sleep, you're going to be burning calories at night, and you're going to be helping to support more metabolic flexibility, which allows for your metabolism to become a fat burning engine, which is what most of us want. So definitely try these 3 techniques out. If you want to learn more about hormones and intermittent fasting, be sure to subscribe to the show for more tips on how to optimize your metabolism, your hormones, as a woman in midlife and beyond.